Hello, I am K-pop Walt and welcome to my channel. So on the 11th of September, NewJeans had a live stream on a YouTube channel that they created to let everyone know what they were going through at Hybe. Not only that, but on the 13th of September, it seems Min Heejin filed an injunction with the court to get herself reinstated as the CEO of Ador. Now, as we all know, Min Heejin was removed from her CEO position after her long feud with Hybe and after she had actually won her injunction, and everyone thought that she was going to stay on as the CEO of Ador, except me. I knew she was going to get kicked to the curb. I'm going to say it right now. I knew it. I said Hybe was going to plot against her, they were going to figure it out, and they were going to kick her. And they did. But now the NewJeans members don't feel like they're being treated well at Hybe now that Min Heejin is gone, or now that she's no longer the CEO. They feel like nobody cares about them anymore. They feel like the person who protected them can no longer help them as much as she did. Which I'm kind of like, is that really true? Min Heejin is technically still an employee. She's still in a director's position and a producer's position. So she's technically still there, she's still around, she just doesn't have the amount of power that she had before. Now, I am in two minds about this whole thing with the live stream with NewJeans, Min Heejin, and Hybe. So I'll give you my 2 cents on the situation. So on one hand, I believe that the girls should be forgiven. I think they're in a very vulnerable place right now. A lot of things are changing at Ador. Things like them getting a new CEO, most of the higher-ups have been changed out. The old staff that they knew when they first began has been taken out and new people have replaced them. So a lot of things are happening, and on top of that, Min Heejin has been replaced and she's no longer in a position of power. On the other hand, I think this live stream that they had on YouTube went a little too far. It's one thing to ask for Min Heejin to come back. It's another thing to demand that Hybe reinstate her and that they do it by a certain date. You're giving them a deadline. You're giving your bosses a deadline to reinstate the woman that they worked really hard to get out of the CEO position. Not only that, Min Heejin has been accused of embezzling funds from the company. That and a bunch of other things. No offense, but a 2-year K-pop group that is averaging at an age of 18 is not in a position to make demands like this. Now, in the live stream, they praise Min Heejin for their success. They say that she is integral to the identity of NewJeans. She is NewJeans. She makes the girls what they are. She's helped them. She's been there with them throughout. They also go on to say that they feel that Min Heejin is irreplaceable. And the live stream basically goes on like that. We'll speak about other things that were said. But this all feels very rehearsed, very scripted, because the girls are not stumbling on each other. They're definitely not stumbling on their own words. They know what they want to say. They know when to say it one after the other. It's very well scripted, if I can say that. And the girls do mention that Min Heejin has no idea about the live stream, that she did not orchestrate or organize the whole live stream, and that she is not a part of this, which, I mean, good for them for mentioning that, because everybody would have thought it was Min Heejin's idea. With everything she's done, she just seems like a very shady, very schemy person. That's just a personal opinion. You can have yours. But with everything that's gone on, my first thought was that Min Heejin, it's her idea. That was my first thought. Not only that, because 2 days later, she goes and she basically files to get herself back in the CEO position. She could easily use the live stream that the girls did as a reason why she needs to be back in her CEO position. Now, I'm gonna say something that's gonna make me sound like I have the K-pop knowledge of an absolute idiot who knows nothing about K-pop, who doesn't even know what K-pop is. But I really, really do believe that this whole live stream and the girls, they're coming off very spoiled. I hate to say it because I actually like the NewJeans girls and I really do feel for them in this whole situation. They have been victims for the most part because they've been used by Min Heejin and nobody's really protected them throughout this whole thing. But at the same time, I'm just thinking to myself, this whole live stream has just proved what some people refuse to understand, which is company privilege in K-pop really does exist. No other K-pop group or K-pop soloist will ever do something like this without actual real mistreatment going on. Not only that, you won't ask for your CEO to be reinstated. If you feel like the company is mistreating you, the first thing you're going to want to do is leave the company entirely. Now, Honey retold a story of certain mistreatment that she had to face in the Hybe building. She said that while on the 4th floor in the hallway, where everyone gets their hair and makeup done, a group came by with their manager and she greeted them. They greeted back. They go in. A few minutes later, they come out and their manager literally tells them in front of Honey to ignore her, which I think is incredibly saddening. She shouldn't have to go through that. The girls hadn't done anything wrong, and I think it's super petty and childish of a manager who is probably like well in her late 20s, maybe even early 30s, to say something like this. Honey said that she reported this to the new CEO of Ador and that the new CEO was not really keen on solving the situation. She told her that it was too late to fix it and that there was no evidence. Honey said that in that moment she felt like she was the liar and that it really did feel like the person who always protected them was no longer around. Now, this isn't the only incident of mistreatment that the girls recalled. They say that they found out that Min Heejin had been removed from her CEO position through an article. So basically they found out the same time that we found out. One of the girls said that that sort of unilateral announcement from the company made us certain that they don't respect us at all. They also mentioned that they had a meeting with Hybe and that their opinions were clearly not being listened to, or that maybe their communication was not conveyed well, which is one of the reasons why they were having the live stream. Now, I have a few opinions, and it's that I really do feel like Min Heejin spoiled the girls entirely too much. That and Hybe allowed Min Heejin to do it. Here's my take. The new CEO has a lot on her plate right now. She has been tasked with reorganizing the company and separating management from production. Not only that, but she has to get well acquainted with everybody in the company, understand how the company has worked so that she could better organize it and plan for the future. This woman literally just came in like a few days ago. I don't understand why it is that Honey thought to go straight to her CEO when she had a problem instead of going to other managers and having them take the problem up with the CEO or with somebody below her. I just don't understand why there isn't a certain chain of command if something like this happens. This feels like a very isolated, very small incident to me. To her, it might be a really big thing. It does kind of border on bullying, but going straight to your CEO seems a bit extreme, which is what makes me believe that Min Heejin spoiled the girls entirely too much. It seems like the relationship they had with Min Heejin was so close that Min Heejin was okay with them coming straight to her if they had any kind of problem. Min Heejin herself did say that they're like a family and she's like a second mom to them, so they felt really comfortable with coming straight to her when they had a problem. And it seems like every opinion, every issue that they had, Min Heejin acknowledged and validated them and tried to fix the problem or the issue. The problem is that's not really the reality of working in a company. Maybe K-pop companies work differently. I doubt it though. Do you really think when TXT has a problem they run straight to Bang PD? I gotta tell you, they do not. There is no way they do that. New Jeans have been living a very beautiful K-pop fantasy, which they've been very lucky to do so. They debuted without any trainee debt. They had a very big budget. They had the very, very fortunate opportunity of being given the title BTS's little sisters, which very few people will ever have the opportunity to have that kind of title. Not only that, but they also practically blew up as soon as they debuted. The girls are all global ambassadors of major fashion brands right now. They've done things that no other K-pop group could ever dream of doing. And yes, Min Heejin did help them achieve that. The girls also themselves worked really, really hard. But the fact is that Hybe worked harder, because without Hybe's name, without Hybe's money, without their resources, their connections, none of this would have been possible. Can you imagine New Jeans debuting under a small company that Min Heejin started herself outside of Hybe? They wouldn't have gotten where they are. So they're not in a position to demand things of Hybe. I'm sorry, but no. The girls were lucky enough to not have to deal with the K-pop reality of debuting with not enough resources. They had everything practically given to them. This isn't to say they didn't work hard. They did, but the Hybe name alone set them up for success. Without Min Heejin in her CEO position, the girls are unfortunately finding out the hard way that the K-pop industry is very, very harsh and brutal, and it doesn't matter if you're in a big company or a small company. These executives, these higher ups, these people, they don't care. They see you as a number. They see you as how much money you bring in. That's what they care about. They care about the numbers. You as an individual, that's not their problem. That's for your managers. That's for your CEOs. That's for people you work hand in hand with. They care about numbers. One thing is for sure, Hybe will not reinstate Min Heejin of their own free will. Even if NewJeans asked nicely, which they kind of didn't, they will not reinstate Min Heejin. The only way Min Heejin gets back in her CEO position is through the court injunction that she filed, if it even goes through. Not to mention, if Hybe did reinstate Min Heejin just because the girls threatened them, they would look like they have no backbone. They would look spineless, which is far from what Hybe is. Can you imagine a big business conglomerate being bossed around by a 2-year group averaging at the age of 18? There's no way. They could never live down that kind of humiliation. Never. I think NewJeans had a very slim chance of fixing the problems that they had with Hybe. Very, very slim, but they did have that chance because Min Heejin used the girls as a shield. Everyone knew it. She used the girls as a shield to spearhead her own ambitions. It didn't work out. She ended up on the losing side. Not only that, but the girls' parents came out with very horrific stories about things that happened to the girls while they were trainees, how they were living, how they were working overtime. And it was really terrible. They really shouldn't have had to go through all of that. But you publicly denounced the company that basically signed your daughter's checks. That kind of denouncement from the parents is not going to be forgotten by Hybe. I've said this before and I will say it again. Hybe and the people in higher up positions, Bang PD, they're very petty people, okay? They hold grudges. NewJeans just burned any sort of bridge that they had to Hybe, any sort of olive branch that they could have branched out to Hybe. They have burned all of this. And for this, Hybe will definitely be putting them in the basement. They're going straight to the dungeon, the gulag. This might be the end for them. Their careers, they could have gone higher. And that's the worst part. The worst part is they could have gone so much higher with their careers, but they chose to do this. They chose to stand up for Min Heejin against Hybe. The people who basically sign their checks. Maybe they don't sign their checks, but they're staying in the Hybe building. There's a reason Min Heejin did not want to go and start her own company because funding is hard to get. And it really isn't easy to make it as a K-pop group under a small company. If NewJeans try to get out of their contracts with Hybe, they won't just be going up against Hybe. The truth is they'll be going up against the entire K-pop industry. The K-pop industry is built in such a way that the big companies or companies in general are the ones that make the money. You cannot become a famous and super successful K-pop group or a K-pop soloist without a company behind you. The K-pop industry is built on a dependency to a company. It's not like the Western music industry where you and a couple of friends could just make a song in a low budget studio, put it on the internet with a low budget music video and have it blow up. That's not how the K-pop industry works. There's a lot of things that need to go into debuting you as a group, promoting you, marketing you to potential fans, getting you on music shows, getting you on variety shows. Getting on music shows is actually a lot harder than they make it sound or that they make it seem, just because I think a lot of people's faves are always on music shows. They go to all of them, the Music Bank, the M Countdowns, Inkigayo, all of them. They go to them all. And it seems like it's such an easy thing to do, but it really isn't, because there's around 60 plus groups that go every single week to these music shows, and of those 60 plus, only around 16 to 18 actually end up making it onto the show. The rest of them are literally just sent home, and those are the small company groups that we don't even hear about. If getting out of your contract with a K-pop company was as easy as filing a case with the court and then getting out, the K-pop industry would be a very different place right now. Truth is, a lot of groups and a lot of people would have probably already left their contracts with their companies because they've gone through much worse than what NewJeans is describing right now. because it seems that the labor ministry is also getting involved and investigating Hybe and Ador for possibly violating labor laws, which, by the way, I'm just like, this is ridiculous. No offense. I don't know. The girls may be actually getting real mistreatment, but it's not anything that they expressed in their live stream. And in the situation, I'm going to say that I feel like the word mistreated is being used very loosely, because I don't think the girls are being mistreated. I think that things aren't happening the way that they want them to happen. Things aren't happening the way that they usually did happen with Min Heejin. They're not being heard out. They're not being taken into consideration in terms of their opinions and how they feel. Things are just happening at the company as per the adults say, and I think they're interpreting that as mistreatment. I really don't want to undermine what the girls have gone through or what they are currently going through and the possible bullying or mistreatment that they are actually facing in the company, but in terms of what they have spoken about, they haven't really mentioned any real mistreatment that they've received from the company or from their CEO. I just think we've forgotten too quickly about what Omega X went through. Omega X was literally physically abused by their CEO. They were sexually harassed and they were left in a different country with little to no money to get back home. That was real abuse. That was real mistreatment. And I don't remember the labor ministry ever getting involved. They had to get their own lawyers. They had to file a whole lawsuit with the court. The fans supported them throughout, but I don't remember the labor ministry getting involved. And now they're getting involved. Truth is, Hybe is going to win because this isn't a fantasy novel. This isn't a movie where the good guys win in the end. This is reality. And in reality, when you have money, you have power, you're always going to win. I think even if Hybe loses New Jeans and Min Heejin, they're still going to be just fine. They have other groups that are incredibly successful. New Jeans, they just dug their grave. That's the honest truth. And unfortunately, Min Heejin helped them do it. If New Jeans do manage to get out of their contract with Hybe though, Hybe is going to probably keep the name, the branding, they're going to lose their global sponsorships, and they may even end up blacklisted from the industry. And if they don't win, they're back at Ador with Hybe, possibly without Min Heejin, fighting for their careers every single day while Hybe just sabotages them little by little by little until they eventually lose most of their popularity. Because the sabotaging is not going to be big stuff. It's going to be in the margin stuff. Very small, tiny thing. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. K-pop is a brutal industry. It is not made for kids. New Jeans are a good example of why it is a bad idea to debut children into the industry. The members' final words to Hybe in their live stream was, "The reason we're making this request is because this is the only way we can get along with Hybe without fighting with the company. We hope that Chairman Bang and Hybe will make the wise decision to return Ador to how it was by the 25th. Thank you for listening." Those were their final words to Hybe. Now, I don't know how this is going to turn out, and it really just doesn't matter because Hybe is going to win anyways. I hate to sound like I'm licking Bang PD booty and Hybe booty. The girls have received a lot of support from people in the industry, other groups, people who work behind the scenes with other groups as well, but none of these groups being Hybe groups. And that is because everyone in Hybe is probably fighting to keep themselves safe. They have their own careers to think about, unfortunately. And honestly, if I was in a situation like them, I'm thinking about me and my group before anything else, especially if you know that it cannot be helped. It does, however, seem like Jungkook of BTS has shown his support for the girls. In an Instagram post that he captioned, "The artists are not guilty." It seems like it had heart with the girls' colors from their Powerpuff Girls era. And the truth is, everyone who's supporting New Jeans openly right now, it is not really of consequence to their careers whether they support them or don't support them, because it doesn't hurt their careers in any way. Jungkook included, he is BTS, he is Jungkook. Nothing's going to happen to him if he supports the girls and goes against Hybe. Hybe has even gone as far as to twist his post and his support by saying, "Don't use the girls as shields," apparently directed at Min Heejin, which is like, give me a break, Hybe. The boy is trying to support the girls. Let him do it. It's not like you're gonna kick him out. Min Heejin claims that she cares about the girls. She says she's like a second mother to them. And if that was true, she should have kept the girls out of it entirely. She shouldn't have used them in any way, shape, or form, so that at least if things did go wrong with her, which they did, the girls would at least have a way way to make things right with Hybe without her. But instead, she got them involved. She had them take her side, whether they did so willingly or not. I honestly don't know, and it really doesn't matter because she also got their parents involved. They denounced the company. They made them look so bad. Hybe is never going to forgive that. This may be the beginning of the end of what was very promising careers for these girls. Now, of course, these are just my opinions, and you are free to share yours with me in the comments. Subscribe, hit the like button if you like this video so I can keep making more just like this one. But until our next chance of K-pop, goodbye.